Okay. Going to get into this, start recording, and just, I'm not done any playing anything today whatsoever. I am pretty much just straight in the studio, drop the girls at sports club, which is kind of like a summer activity thing. It's the summer holidays here in the UK, Scotland. It is the 17th of July. Mouth feels a bit fluffy today. And here to do some work. So I'm not going any playing yet today, and I want to kind of share this from my perspective of just like hitting it on a Monday morning. It's not even that early anymore, 20 past 10, and talk about some thoughts about what's been going on with the playing. It's been a little while since I've done an update. I actually recorded a whole rambling video last night on a bit of an evening walk to cover this topic, and I was basically I was out for a walk along through Preston Pans and along the high street and down the coast and everything, and then onto a nice kind of promontory that sits a little bit out of town, looking over the sea, and you can see Edinburgh and the Fife coastline and the Firth of Forth and everything, and it was lovely. It was really nice, but it was really windy. And one of the things that I'm noticing in my speech is that my speech feels really, I want to say tonguey, but I'm very aware of my tongue being against the back of my teeth, which brings me on to what's going on with the teeth. Well, these guys here, they're in, and I think that was stated recently as to be a good thing, and everything's there. And I mentioned about some gum issues and stuff. So more than anything, what I notice in my speech is it feels like I'm talking like this all the time, which I know I'm not. But when I hear myself speaking back, I can hear a little bit of that, purely because where the back of the teeth are, and the kind of, so it's like maybe better than this one. It's like, is it bare? I don't know. I don't know why I've got two cameras running. I do. If this is the back of my teeth running up to my gum, there's a little kind of like part here where the screws go in to attach the teeth to the titanium screws, and they fill that with amalgam, basically, so you don't have like open screw holes and stuff there. And that's a little bit kind of bulbous in the back. So that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like it's stuff in my mouth. Not all the time, Maybe when my tongue's a little bit fat and I've had a couple of beers a night before. Maybe that's my issue. So I recorded the video and it was really, really windy. So I'm not going to share that video. I might do it again, actually, because I said some good stuff about Preston Pans and the coastline and everything. And the chat about the trumpet stuff at the very end was very, very, very relevant. Anyway, so teeth are in, and talked about gum issues and things. So one of the points I wanted to cover was that last weekend, so this is Monday, not just the weekend that's passed. The weekend before, I had quite an intense function gig. So that basically was a wedding, playing with a wedding band, and it's quite heavy, So I'm still dealing with some stamina issues in terms of literally how long I can play for. The range is gradually coming along, etc. So day on day, week on week, this is improving. So last week, I think now I was quite a bit of a weaker situation. I was still dealing with this gum thing, and the gum thing is basically that above my left tooth, as I look at the screen, this guy here, above here and running up this area here, felt quite tender and sensitive, I think is a good word to say. So playing protective in that, and when playing, like, instead of like playing straight on or flat on, coming away a little bit more, using a little bit more jaw support, and really just trying to think about getting the weight away from my top gum. That's not a bad thing. A lot of people kind of play like that anyway, depending on how your teeth are set up and your jaw situation. We talked about this in previous lessons or chats about playing technique and style, and certainly going through the issues that I had when my teeth were failing. Playing defensively was a big part of it. So revisiting that and having to play that way it wasn't strange to me. But in terms of playing like that combined with a slightly more forward setup than I'm used to, there was still some considerations in terms of how much playing I could do in a practice session, how I would get through gigs with range still to consider in terms of being a trumpet player, being a lead trumpet player, etc., and all the stamina that goes along with that as well. So that was okay. After the gig on Saturday night, I felt a tad uncomfortable, so I got really, really dry mouth today. I'll get to that in a second, in fact. So I took the Sunday off and just let everything settle down. And I had contacted my good friend Murray McFarlane, fantastic Scottish trumpet player, incredibly technically adept, beautiful sound, glorious range, really, really quite envious of his playing. And Murray kind of runs the trumpet section in the Jazz Bar Big Band in Edinburgh. I'd asked Murray if he could put me in the section for 1 week. The reason being was that I wanted to get away from the practice room focus of like, oh, how does this feel? What's going on? Is this comfortable? Can I do this? Can't I do that? The Night Noodles are kind of like that in terms of like just playing and just like getting sound happening and creativity. But I wanted to be in that environment, kind of like the function band that was with me the Saturday night, but in a section with other trumpets around me, and in that acoustic environment where you're more thinking about your sound and your blend and everything else that's going on. And I tried some lead stuff, and I had to go at a bit of soloing that I wasn't really that enamoured with. Part of the issue that I'm learning to deal with is the spontaneity of just like turning on the chops or the ideas and getting it all to happen. I'm still trying to play quite considerate and quite mechanical almost, in terms of like, I'm playing this, I have to do this, make sure I'm set properly. And that type of thinking isn't really what you want to do when you're trying to be spontaneous and creative, be that in an improvising state, or if you are just also interpreting music, written music, etc. Because you get style and things that you want to happen and just etc. Anyway, so the gig was all right actually, not that bad, not great by any means, but got through it and made a solo happen and stuff, and did some lead stuff. But afterwards, like as soon as I got out the gig, I was driving home, I got a lot of discomfort in my gum, and got back home, and essentially what I noticed was like there was a blood blister, literally a blood blister. So it's like if you've ever been unlucky enough to catch your hand or finger or a bit of skin in something like a door jamb or a drawer, and you get a wee pinch and you get a little bit of swelling maybe, and you can see some blood forming underneath the skin. That's what I had. I was like, oh man. So it was quite a stressful time trying to get to sleep and everything running through my head and like, what have I done and this and that. And then eventually kind of talked myself into thinking, just leave it, okay? We'll see what happens tomorrow. If it's still there, or if you wake up and there's blood all over your pillow, we'll call the dentist and see what happens. Anyway, didn't wake up with blood all over the pillow, and some closer inspection, you can still see, I want to say it looked like a blister that had started to diminish in size. Is what it looked like. And the discomfort was there, but it was less and less and less and less. So, to backtrack a little bit, I had an appointment with a hygienist, and I'll not go too heavily into this. And basically, dental hygiene, my dental hygiene had to be improved. There's a little bit of essentially what's called gingivitis. So if you know what that is, it's basically gum disease or not healthy gums, where you get bleeding around the gums and the teeth area, etc. So they recommended obviously flossing and mouthwash, and basically a new regimen in terms of how I look after my teeth to protect the implant site. So after that appointment, I had a checkup with the amazing Gregor, and he went through it again. We're talking about gum health. When you have an implant site, so when you've had like dental surgery that I've been through, and you've got gingivitis, I should really look this up. I should probably maybe try and edit this into the video. Um, when you have unhealthy gums, gingivitis, and you've got something like a dental implant site, this can become something else. It actually gets a different name, different term. When you have had dental surgery and you've got dental implants, and basically it can start to infect the area where the bone graft is put in and where the screws are in, and it can really start to cause some serious issues with that implant site. So it's very important that I got on top of this. How this came around, I'm not entirely sure. If it was just part of my whole process of dental surgery, if it was something that I did or didn't do in terms of oral hygiene from February up until recently, or if it's something that occurred during the surgery. I don't know. I've not gone into that. This will be something that I address on my next checkup with a hygienist, because I want to know. I'm that type of person that specifically I want to know how this happened, and I'm actually kind of coming through the other side of this. Touch wood. Due to the increase in dental hygiene. So what have I done? So obviously the hygienist said about the dental tape. So I'm using dental tape for flossing. I am using Corsadol mouthwash, which is a specific mouthwash in terms of it contains an antibacterial agent, and is really, really good for post-dental surgery to either prevent against or deal with infection, but also, and I'll never know if this is a big part of it or not, but I use two products from a company called Ancient Purity. This isn't a product placement thing, so hopefully YouTube won't jump on top of me for this. And you can get them from anywhere, but the company I use is called Ancient Purity, and they produce numerous products that are as close to nature as possible, and basically embrace a lot of what nature can provide for us. And I'm using two products which are liposomal vitamin C. It's a very, very high strength vitamin C, and also a liposomal curcumin, which is turmeric, obviously, product. And the healing properties, anti-inflammatory properties of both of these, combined with the Corsadol. Again, I can't say if it's any one product or if it's a combination of them all, and just the uptick in dental hygiene. But using all of these things has got on top of this issue. So much so, I mean, there's been no gum bleeding now probably for about 4 or 5 weeks. But since the weekend when I started using all three of these products, the discomfort has really disappeared. And generally, strength on strength, this has allowed me to be a little bit more committed in terms of my playing. So, very, very briefly, got back on the playing on Wednesday after having Tuesday off after discomfort from Monday. Basically using Larry Merigiano's compression training system, long note practice, gentle air supported lip flexibilities, really trying not to get too much weight in front of the face. Thursday, started to get in some proper practice again, because I had a rehearsal on Friday for a gig, and Saturday, which is a friend's amazing singer, Amy Hawthorne, from the UK. She was on The Voice, and she's kind of like an RAF sweetheart type singer, but she's also got an amazing soul voice. It was her wedding on Saturday, and the band that she sings with, that I'm in, which is called The Smoking Pockets, based in Scotland, we were doing her wedding, and it's a heavy set. It's kind of like all the unknowns, all the B-sides, a lot of the original tunes that were used for samples for hip hop records, and all those types of like proper floor fillers. That's what we do in the set. So it's quite heavy, 3-piece horn section work. But also on Thursday evening, we got a call to go and cover a kind of busking gig on the Wednesday morning. So it was like, right, okay, head in the work zone. And by having the gums in a better place allowed me to do a lot more work, and also start to access some of the range that I I'm known for in terms of my playing. So I'm by no means like knocking out top G's all night long, etc., and pushing into A's and B flats. But the kind of money register from that G on the stave, even just up to a top D, is there consistently, and I can attack that to whatever degree I need to attack it, and take care of it and own it, which is very, very important, because that's where a lot of the work is. Being able to play higher than that, I've said this before in many of the lessons and many of the videos, is great. And if you can play up to that register and own that register and use it correctly and nicely and musically, then great. You know, it's like there's a whole nother avenue of work that opens up for you. But even getting close to that register and that whole fifth register before is really where it's all at, because that's most of where our playing is. I mean, it's like if anyone's ever played trumpet players wise, or trombone players, superstition, it doesn't go above like a top C, but it's on the face quite heavy, that type of tune. Tunes like move on up. They, apart from the octave parts and the choruses, etc., that's really like the C sharps. A lot of the stuff we play, and that stave to ledger line, lower ledger line register on the trumpet is really what it's all about. So getting that on board was really, really good. But also in terms of the busking gig on the Friday morning, being able to play melodies and then go straight into solos, and it's a duo. It's trombone and trumpet, and there's nowhere else to hide. And you're in a train station as well, so the sound's all around you. Crazy stuff. Being able to do that, all coming down to just having the gum issue starting to decrease and a little bit more confident in the fact that these guys are there for real, and still getting comfortable in terms of like not how much you can press on, but knowing that they're not just going to like shatter or break or any of that type of stuff. So, not played the note yet today. I'm talking loads and I'm aware that I'm really, really dry in my mouth, but I want to see how it feels, because Saturday's gig, the wedding gig, was great. It was really good. It's the best I've played on these teeth, and it's the most comfortable I've felt after a gig, during a gig, in terms of music creation, being able to play ideas. There wasn't a lot of improvising, but certainly being able to commit to some of these lines. Didn't do a lot of playing last night, but I have got a rehearsal tonight with a local originals band. We are supporting a Bibio Sound Machine on Thursday night. So I ran through some of their stuff, and I've not really played yet today. So what we're going to do is I'm going to carry on recording, and then I'm going to drop out this video from the live. It's not from the live, from the continued warm up, but I'm going to do a continual video that will chop in two essentially, and the second part of this video will be up as just a warm up. But I'll keep the chat going in that part of the video, but so you don't have to sit through all of what you just sat through. If you have, thank you very much, and then sit through the whole warm up thing as well. So I'll do them as two separate videos. It's kind of why I've got this guy going here as well. So thank you for watching. It's coffee. Oh, the other thing. It's Corsadil mouthwash, this antibacterial agent. It tastes like medicine, and obviously you don't swallow it. But it does leave the mouth feeling very, 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 very dry. So we'll see how this playing goes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll do a little bit of playing, and I'll fade this video out as I'm starting to get into the warm-up. And as always, stay safe, stay smart, don't forget to practice, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers, folks. Bye-bye. Just get the tuner up for my pitch reference.